with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Don't let someone pull the Joseph wool out of over your eyes. The Leafs are 2 points out of first place in the NHL. Yeehaw!
I did not realize that, by the way, until someone posted the standings. I went, there, what?
Yeah, and well, I mean, they're in sixth place technically because they've played more games than pretty much everybody.
Oh, phooey, I say.
But they have gone on an 8-1 run.
Is that good?
I've heard that's good.
After losing 4 straight?
Well, here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to say is that I want you to know that I believed in them this whole time.
Yeah?
And it was me.
There's lots of evidence.
And, I mean, you must be some kind of an idiot to have not believed in the Leafs from game 1 this season.
Okay. All right.
And I, an adult man, will subtweet you now that they're winning.
Oh, is this a thing?
Are you responding to Twitter?
No, I'm just saying I'm only saying that I, as an adult man, am going to subtweet you because now the Leafs are winning. And I didn't say anything beforehand, but now that the Leafs are winning, I'm going to act like I did. I, adult man, subtweeting you.
Steve, I have a question for you.
Yes, Jason.
How many of our shows start with an angry thing happened on Twitter and it aggravated Adam?
Almost all of them.
Well, then, if it's not me, it's Steve. See, at least I post-argue. Steve is pre-arguing. But you're right.
That's okay. No, that's fair.
Is that fair?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Adam responds poorly to arguments that are happening.
Yes.
You respond perfectly to arguments that haven't happened yet.
No, I respond poorly to arguments that haven't happened.
I got it.
I'm a very bad hypothetical arguer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, does your blood boil? What's it? Adam has to calm me down before anything happens.
Mm-hmm.
I have to calm Adam down after something happens. Jesse's cool the whole time.
Yeah. That's kind of it. You nailed it.
You're looking at me like I'm wrong.
No, I agree.
There you go.
All right.
I got it. Well,
what's
who
gonna
was
happen?
it? Name names.
What's going to happen tomorrow on Twitter.com? And then we're going to come on Wednesday and Adam's going to say, you know what?
I'm going to get double subtweeted. That's what's going to happen.
Jim89427 tweeted me something.
Man, Jim, I'm watching you.
And I got to take.
I'm watching you, Jim. Jim, I'm going to watch you, Jim.
You knew this was going to happen.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
There are people who are sore about last season. And if the Leafs slip up, the people who are sore are going to let them know. Me, I'm people who are sore. And I let them know. But the retaliation was always going to come because this winning streak was always going to come. And here it is. And there's the retaliation. And hey, the Leafs are winning. Who cares if we were wrong or right about it?
Since 6-0 came in here and you guys yelled about the Leafs and everything you said that Monday was true at the time.
No, what you must do is clip it and tweet it at me 2 weeks later.
No, they were pathetic. It was a terrible loss back-to-back on the San Jose game and then the game on Saturday to the Penguins.
What are you talking about? They had a shot against first liner Evan Rodriguez, as I recall.
It was pathetic, like I said 3 times already, and everything you guys yelled at the time was correct. So it doesn't, now that they've won, it's like, okay, yeah, you were supposed to.
Yeah, no, okay. But the context was the Leafs had played the night before. Sam Lafferty was coming off 3 days rest. So you can understand why the Leafs lost 7-1 to Sam Lafferty.
Right. Oh, no, but don't get upset because in a couple weeks, the situation might change and they might be good.
Like, Montreal Canadiens fans were wrong as a fan base about the Montreal Canadiens. And you know what they did en route to the Stanley Cup final? Enjoyed it. Yeah. They just enjoyed it.
No,
they just had a good time.
But they're tearing each other apart now.
Well, now. The team's bad now.
Yeah.
But Leaf fans, we could just never be... We're hardest on each other. And then the Leafs.
True.
And then the Habs, then the Leafs again.
I would like to know who predicted the ice-cold start and then the piping hot last 9 games. If anybody has that exact prediction, please send it to me. The Leafs are going to start ice-cold, and they're going to lose to the Penguins really badly, and then all of a sudden it's going to randomly turn around for no rhyme or reason other than the big guys who are supposed to score will start scoring.
Well, I mean, it's an argument as old as time. It's... the shooting percentage regressing to the mean.
100%. Mm-hmm. And people did call that.
Yes, they did. But can they also be doing things that are allowing the shooting percentage to regress to the mean. Because my argument the whole time was they're not. Oh, it's going to regress. And I said, I agree it's going to, but they're also not challenging the goaltenders they're playing.
And would you say that's changed?
Yeah, I would. That and they played Aaron Dell.
Well, that was, I mean, and Buffalo made it close. Let's not kid ourselves.
Right.
Of course.
And someone like John Tavares, who isn't a goal scorer, has just been on fire.
Oh, he's a pretty good.
He's a goal scorer. I don't categorize John Tavares as like, oh my God, he might challenge for a Rocket Richard type of goal scorer. He's a gritty guy who gets into places and gets his points. He's point a game every year, but he's not guaranteed 35 goals. I don't put him in that category. But the last 10 games, he's been Alexander Ovechkin in his prime.
You know, he scored 47 goals the first year he got.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And 37 the year before.
Yeah. And here's Jesse going, yeah, well, so did Sergei Berezin. We don't talk about him like that, do we, Steven? Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough, Jesse, fair enough. No, it's...
his 100th goal is a Leaf, by the way.
And he's doing great things. He's doing... The lines are working.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you know who they're never trading? Kerfoot. They're never trading that guy. They love him
too
too
useful.
Much. He is. They just need to use him properly.
Mm-hmm.
And then he drops down to the third line, and I'm like, that's not where you play Kerfoot. And then the third line's the best one. And I'm like, Jesus.
There's like 8 different spots in the lineup where Kerfoot can play.
Yeah.
I don't know how you move that.
Yeah. I keep saying 3.5 mil is no good for the third line, but it is if he's good.
Yeah.
As long as he's good.
So Joseph Woll.
Hooray!
I can't remember the last goalie that the Leafs developed that actually played for them.
Antoine Bibeau, I think, was the last.
Maybe Garrett Sparks? Was Bibeau later?
I think so. I think the last goalie the Leafs drafted and played in a game that he won was Antoine Bibeau.
What about Kaskasuo?
Nope, he was
Casimir?
a NCAA signing.
I think that counts.
No.
It should count. Why doesn't that count? Why does that not count?
They didn't draft him.
So, but you're getting so technical.
They
on
developed
conversation is draft and develop him.
If it's the specific thing, I think they 100% developed.
Also, Kaskasuo never won a game as a Leaf.
Let me rephrase.
They developed him.
Let me rephrase.
They did.
Who was the last
goalie who never won for them?
Who was the last goalie the Leafs developed?
Kaskasuo.
And draft can be a part of that, but Kaskasuo didn't win.
No.
He played like on a Saturday night.
Okay, if we're using Jesse's criteria, the last goalie the Leafs developed and used regularly, I would say was Garrett Sparks technically, but we know how poorly that went.
Yeah.
One that didn't go poorly, I would say actually Ben Scrivens. So we're kind of going a ways back.
What about and James Reimer before that? James was a draft pick, was he not?
So yeah, they had a tandem where
Fourth
they signed and developed Scrivens, and they drafted and developed Reimer. There you go.
It's pretty thin for the last decade.
Yeah, it ain't good.
It's actually, and you look at the decade before, it's not any better.
No, that's why I kind of like that every draft they seem to get one. They seem to get one goalie. They're going to hit on one. I don't care.
Don't say that.
I don't care if all the others fail. No, they have. They just
don't say that.
They simply have too many.
You cannot.
Surely.
You could have said that after they drafted and developed Felix Potvin and then signed Curtis Joseph and traded Felix Potvin. They're like, I'm sure they'll develop another one.
No, what I said was I hate the Leafs for trading my favorite player is what I said.
Yeah, well, I
was very
traded
upset.
him for an incredible defenseman in Brian Berard. I don't hate that trade. That Brian Berard was amazing. Okay? Amazing.
That's not fair. Life's not fair. That trade is life not being fair.
The other thing I want to... So Woll played pretty good. Like the Skinner goal, the first Skinner goal.
I don't know. He played okay.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a work of art.
No, but that first Skinner goal was like, okay, that's an awkward bounce. So we give him that one.
I thought it was on purpose.
Did you think that was on purpose?
It's too perfect.
That's why I thought it was an accident. Because hockey chaos sometimes looks like perfection. I can't.
I think he knows how the boards in the KeyBank Center bounce, and it wasn't on purpose, but it wasn't on accident.
I get that. I get that. And I mean, as a goalie, you can't. Oh man, you got to know that the bank pass off the end boards is going to go tape to tape.
Yeah, so that's why I give him that.
Yeah.
I give him that. Of the goals that were scored against him. Okay, so we're already down a goal here. So that one, yeah. What else do you say should have had it?
There was the other one, and I forgot to mention this in my video, where there were 2 sticks in his net, including his own. And then he just
got martyrs.
He picked up the first stick he found, and it wasn't his. And actually, where the puck squeaks in, if he has his stick, I think he stops it.
No, he was late on it. I looked at that as well.
Really?
Yeah. I did the pause and the slow down on the replay on the Rogers Ignite box, and the puck went through his legs before he could get down and get the stick back. I don't know.
Well,
I don't think he would have got it even with a goal
So
stick.
that wasn't a great
Why
one.
are none of those features available on Sportsnet now? That's what I can't figure out. Why can't I do nothing on that app?
Like,
I can do nothing on that app.
insist on making my life hard.
Oh, listen, the TSN app's not any better. Why can I not do any of that fun stuff?
What do you think of the version
tried-
app?
That's pretty good,
Adam,
actually.
Oh, yeah,
As far as radio-
Steve, I tried doing something nice for you and your company by shouting out the pause
It's cool.
and replays
I wanna know why I
and
can't do that.
Recording games on my
Oh my
Ignite box
God.
is wonderful.
And I just hear
now-
Adam, zip, and he just pisses all over it.
All I asked is why I can't have that cool feature they developed on the thing that I pay $25 a month for. Huh?
Is that how much it is?
That's what it is. I know. You get it for free. I know.
Got to be more important.
I do need to be more important.
Go to snnow.ca and use promo code DANGLE20
What,
to get 20% off for 3 months.
is that
That's
for
pretty good
new
deal.
or existing customers?
I think both.
By the way, if they ever tell us that we don't mention their product, I'm gonna
This
be like,
is
excuse
so
me,
much
not.
free ad time.
Excuse me,
Like,
sir.
move on.
We have been accused of that.
Oh man, do you guys know any good male grooming companies?
For Buffalo, who had a strong start. Is it
To
all
the season?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it all kind of coming back to where it probably should have, oughta?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they're just they can score.
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about the Sabres kindly, because we already know what they lack. Players and stuff. They are having an easier time scoring, which is good.
Yep.
And they put up a lot more of a fight, which is something I think they've done well under Don Granato. Ever since he got there, they played like their lives mattered. They played like they're in the National Hockey League. There was a stretch there where they weren't. There was a stretch there where you could feel the depression just emanating off the ice. I got depressed watching the Buffalo Sabres. And then towards the end of the season, they played in a way where, you know what? They might win this game. There was an air of they might win this game. Prior to that, it was they're going to lose. How's it going to happen and when? It's different now. There's some fight there.
Mm-hmm.
They celebrate like the goal they just scored means something. I noticed that with Tage Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
They need goaltending. They need goaltending, man. That's just not good enough.
I looked at that Detroit made the perfect trade with Nedeljkovic.
Oh,
That would have been a perfect Buffalo goalie too.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Something like that. How great would that have been? Or Vitek Vanacek if they'd been able to get their hands on him.
yep.
But obviously they weren't in position to make that kind of a deal. But going into next summer, because they're not going to have goaltending this year, I don't think, unless some weird shit happens. That's the kind of move they need to make.
Yeah.
Something like like Georgiev, whose deal I think is up at the end of the year. There's somebody where you go, okay, I could see them making a move for a guy like that if New York doesn't want to re-sign him or they can't or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that's the Buffalo needs to do that, where it's like goalie who needs a shot. That's what they need.
Yeah.
They're doing the perfect thing this year, though. Them and Arizona they're trying to lose, and the best way to lose
Yes.
is to put in goalies who probably aren't at the National Hockey League level anymore.
I'm not
it's
sold
perfect.
that Arizona is trying to lose as hard as Buffalo was, and yet here we are. But we'll talk about the Coyotes later in the show. 'Cause
No,
I've got
they
some
would have
stuff.
signed a goalie if they weren't trying to lose.
Yeah, okay. All right, now, one thing I do want to ask, because you guys heard Jack Eichel had his surgery.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, Buffalo, but we have to bring him up.
Successful.
Successful. Now, who knows what the recovery is going to look like? 3 to 5 months, whatever. He could play in the Olympics. He may not, probably not.
Inside info on that comes out on the Chris Johnson show.
Oh.
One, he pointed out how this was a surgery he waited like 8 months to do. It took an hour. He walked out of the hospital.
That's
unbelievable.
Fucking crazy.
The medical
On his neck?
advancement is incredible.
He bounced around on his neck. He did a handstand out of the hospital.
He did not. That is not true.
Crazy.
That's not.
No, Adam said it into a microphone.
Please, nobody
And then
believe that.
there was a trampoline
Elon
waiting
Musk
for him, and
is
he
about
said,
to
"Let
tweet
me."
about it.
There was a trampoline waiting outside, and he said, "Let me land neck first."
Damn.
Yeah.
So
And the doctor's like, "See, we told you it was great. We told you."
So
It's a good
actual
procedure.
reporting, CJ said that Jack Eichel is going to be working with the same doctor who worked on Connor McDavid when he had that non-surgery, he had that surgery injury, and then he didn't get surgery, and they just rehabilitated it.
The PCL.
So yeah, that doctor is going to be working with Jack Eichel over the next couple months to get him back on the ice. They're expecting him back on the ice mid-December, and from there he's working towards a 3 to 5 month ish. So they're saying it's leaning towards the earlier of the 3 months, so more to the 3 month than the 5 month side. So they're looking like March, and it's an outside shot, maybe Olympics, but that's just like pie in the sky if like the world was mad.
Bro, if I gave up all that shit for
March.
Jack Eichel and I'm the Golden Knights, you're not going to the Olympics, pal. Sorry.
Also, like,
Sorry, but no.
the owners just completely got rid of an entire Olympics for the NHL because Tavares hurt his knee once. Eichel's not going.
No, he's not.
He's not going, and he shouldn't go. And if I'm any of the brain trust in Vegas, I go, listen, you waited 8 months for this shit. We rescued you. You're not fucking going.
No. I would say no.
Skating, December's in what? 3 weeks?
Yep.
So non-contact skating for Jack Eichel begins in like 5 weeks, 4 weeks. That's pretty awesome.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So here was my question about Jack Eichel. If he comes back fully healthy, because it seems at least right now that Sabres fans and the Sabres and Buffalo can move on. If he comes back and kills it and is healthy, will they be able to move on? Because I don't feel like the move on can happen until we know how Jack Eichel plays. Is that fair?
I understand what you're saying. I understand. They're in a bit of an eye of the storm right now. It's calm. It feels like post-Eichel life. Smells like it. Everything about it. Everything your senses tell you.
It's like when you take out a big loan and you have a lot of money all of a sudden.
Isn't this great? But then guess what? Arthur Morgan shows up and he says, you took a loan from my colleague Leopold Strauss and it's come due. And then he beats the shit out of you when he returns to town. That's about to happen. I'd love that game.
It's a
very
great
much.
game.
If I could do a Red Dead podcast instead of this, I would. I love you both. I'd abandon you for it. Anyway, sorry, what?
We can start doing some Red Dead streams together if you want.
Oh my God. I wish you'd never said that to me. You're like, oh, you want to stream Red Dead? And I think about it at least once a day.
We'll do it.
What's stopping you?
It's a 60-hour game.
Well, just do it in pieces.
Play 10 minutes of it. What?
It's a lot.
Steve, I don't know if you know this, but people like watching you online. Have you heard that? Did you know that?
So
We'll
Jack
set it
Eichel.
up. We'll set it up. Anyway, so the Sabres and their defense will remain the same. That's going to be the frustrating part.
Yep.
Their defense will be, but no one had done it. Now that someone has done it, we're happy for you. That's wonderful. In the future, because of your success, we will consider this procedure for other players. But we didn't know what we know now.
Okay.
So we have no regrets. And the other thing is, I think they would argue, and this is even more frustrating, is we're not going to know exactly how successful it was until like several years from now, like down the line in Eichel's career.
Okay, but what if the Golden Knights go deep?
Oh, if they win the Stanley...
And they don't run into the magical Montreal Canadiens this year.
If Jack Eichel...
Chandler Stevenson could play third-line minutes.
There's no scenario where Jack Eichel lifts the cup above his head with anybody and it's not a failure of the Buffalo Sabres. He was supposed to be their guy. Even if Vegas were to trade Eichel to, I don't know, Minnesota, and then Minnesota won, the fact Eichel didn't succeed with them is a failure. Exact same as if Austin Matthews were to go somewhere else and win.
Okay.
He was supposed to be your guy forever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's your fault he's not.
Vegas also has to make the playoffs first.
That too.
They are in tough with all these injuries. So if they can turn around their season and be ready for when Jack Eichel comes back, then there's a possibility that all of this happens.
What if this year's Golden Knights are like the 2017 Lightning? That team that super should not have missed the playoffs,
but did.
Fortunately did and allowed the Leafs to make it. And then they had a bad season since? The answer is no.
That Lightning team, I think, would have beaten the Capitals in the first round. If the Leafs played them.
Oh, if they were healthy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, even limping into the playoffs like they were, because they were a point out.
Oh, they were hotter than the Leafs.
Yeah.
If the Leafs played the Lightning in the first round, the Leafs would have been done.
I wonder if what would have happened that year because the Capitals came in shaky, right?
Oh, the Leafs scored the first goal of that. Now we're going down the path of what should have been. The Leafs should have won that series. They should have, and we don't talk about it because they were up 2-0 in the first game.
Yeah, and then 2 of the other games were in OT, right? I know Game 6 was.
5 of the 6 games in that series went to overtime.
Yeah, you gotta close it out, Leafs.
Yeah, Jesse.
It means you had a chance every time to pot 1 goal to win 5 games. Do it.
You guys want to play old?
You didn't do it.
Do you guys want to feel old as hell?
Sure.
Because I'm switching subjects. Hope that's
do
okay.
it. Mm-hmm. Do it.
Connor McDavid has 600 points.
Are we old as hell, or is he a mutant?
Is he just good?
I think he might be a mutant.
Because I can remember when Connor McDavid broke into the league, and he was playing on a line with Nail Yakupov and Benoit Pouliot. The McYakpoo line.
The McYakpoo line, and they were good.
They were good. That was the last time Nail Yakupov looked really good in the NHL. And now he has, in 240 games, 241 games, 600 career points. That is 6th all time. Nobody has done it in a shorter amount of time since the 1980s.
In how many games?
241 games.
That has to be wrong.
I don't believe it is.
That has to be. There's no way. That's not allowed. No.
I think I'm right.
No, that was.
sorry.
Yeah, that doesn't.
421 games.
Okay.
Oh, that's still stupid.
Because the 200 games was Gretzky. 200. So that's my bad. My bad.
Okay.
Also, I don't know if you know this, but I have that thing. I don't know if I wouldn't call it outright dyslexia, but I flip numbers. So my bad on that.
You can just be wrong, man.
Yeah, I could just be wrong. No, but
it's okay.
Look. I said 241 instead of 421.
I can't look because I have that thing where I can't see.
Is that a back problem too, or?
Hey, listen. All right, I played in the tournament, 1 game. I got out there. I was happy. Okay, this is stupid.
It's a stupid list.
So Jesse's got the list. I'll just read it. This is fewest games to 600 points. Connor McDavid, 421. Dumb. Yari Curry, who played with Wayne Gretzky, 419. Mike Bossy, 400. Peter Stastny, there's that name again.
Amazing.
394. Mario Lemieux, 323. And Wayne Gretzky, 274. He should have been arrested.
I know, crazy, eh?
He should have.
At 274. And I bet that first 600 even include the 200 point seasons? Because I don't think it did.
That's a great question.
Like, who was the
maybe
quickest?
1 or 2 of them.
Who was the quickest in the second set of 200 of 600 points? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes.
And it has to be like Gretzky, probably.
Just 1,000%.
Because he did 400 points in like 2 years.
I think there were only 4 or 5 200-point seasons in the history of the NHL, and they're all his.
Mario Lemieux had a 199 point
199. Season. His life's not fair.
So Gretzky Gretzky did it over 3 seasons. You ready for this?
Okay.
If you count 83, 84, 84, 85, and 85, 86, 205, 208, and 215.
Get lost.
And leading up to that, by the way, he had 164, 212, and 196. And after that, 183, 149, and 168.
What a bum. Go look at his last season.
Stupid.
Look at his last season. It's funny to me.
What, that he had 9 goals and 53 assists? He's like Joe Thornton out there. And he's like, yo, by the way, I don't know if this matters, but he was a minus 23.
No, they weren't very good. It was the only year of his career where he was below a point a game.
We need to discuss that at some point. I don't know if today's the day, but the Rangers with Gretzky, that first season, he had like 97 points in an era when you didn't get 97 points. Mm-hmm. Messier is there. He signs because Messier is there. And then I think after that, Messier just goes, fuck off, I'm going to Vancouver. Like, you know what I mean?
That went poorly, by the way.
It did go poorly.
I've seen a lot of Canucks
but
fans
they went
talking about that.
right to the conference finals, I think, against Philadelphia in 96-97. I'm pretty sure. And then
The
Philly.
Canucks?
No, the Rangers.
Oh.
In 96-97, the Rangers, I think, went all the way to the conference finals. I think the Flyers beat them. And then...
Oh, the year the Flyers went to the final.
And then the Flyers got swept by Detroit.
Yes, they did, because Detroit were mutants, too. Oh, my God. Well, anyway, getting back to McDavid's majesty.
Craziness.
It's hidden the fact that in, I think it's 15 games, Draisaitl has 15 goals and 16 assists.
Wow.
That's, oh, man. If you're betting against the Oilers right now, you need to stop that. Stop that right now. You can point to their defense all day, and you can be John Tortorella and talk about how they're going to perform in the playoffs. No, it's November, and betting against them is dumb. Stop that.
That Tortorella quote, by the way, I know that made the rounds last week, and we didn't quite get to it on the show, but I remember Jesse setting it in the link, and Jesse writes, so he tells McDavid to shut up.
Mm-hmm. It happened after our show.
It happened after our show, and I remember waking up from a nap going, no, he didn't. Connor McDavid doesn't say anything. What do you mean, shut up? And he was talking, I guess, about all the penalty calls that were missed last year in the playoffs. And I'm sort of curious about that mentality, because as much as you make fun of John Tortorella for feeling that way, you know that John Tortorella is not the only one that feels that way. There's a lot of people inside hockey who would say that.
Arthur Staples' tweet was bizarre, too.
What did he say?
He was basically like, no one wants McDavid to get more calls unless they cheer for McDavid and the Oilers. And I was like, I want McDavid to get more calls.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
What kind of a league is it if Connor McDavid's game completely changes because the NHL just decides?
Yeah. Well, like, decides that their own rule book is too much of a burden. Guys,
heavy is the head that wears the rulebook crown.
Like, we always go, wait, what if you call penalties? And the NHL goes, it's fast.
That makes me laugh. That's so true.
So the solution is to slow down. What are the players working so hard in their skating for? Slow down. Slow down. Because it's too fast. They can't handle it. Listen. McDavid wore Dylan DeMello like a backpack, and I'm supposed to see that?
You're giving it to the refs this year pretty hard, huh?
Because they're genuinely terrible at their jobs and always have been and deserve it. Fuck them. Like, what am I supposed to have feelings for them? You bunch of
Can I play the
pandered to
Tortorella
spoiled babies?
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's see the Torts audio.
Keep their jobs for an eternity and hold an entire industry back because they're incompetent.
This is John Tortorella telling the greatest player in the world to shut up.
I think this is going to work.
The play. What's the next step, though, to becoming a winning player, a playoff winning player? Because you're not going to get the calls you do in the regular season. He didn't last year, and that was a bit of an issue.
So here, pause. Pause. You're not going to get the calls. You're not going to get the calls that you do in the regular season.
Okay.
You've given it away. You found the problem. How far into the clip are we?
It was literally 4 seconds.
4 seconds. Stop the discussion.
We may have to restart the
Stop the discussion. You're done. They don't call the penalties in the playoffs. We're done. What does McDavid have to change? Nothing. They don't call the penalties. End of segment. Christ, you galaxy brain assholes. Literally call the rules of the sport.
By the way, I don't care. I don't know if there's a single person that watches hockey that's like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah. Guys,
like I think it's the one thing you can unite hockey fans on outside of the actual game, like outside of the people inside the NHL, because I feel like we all feel the same way.
What's hockey? Here, watch me solve the problem in like 30 seconds or less. What's hockey?
Puck and net.
No, like literally, what is it?
It's a game.
It's a game. What do games have?
Rules.
Who's the best at it?
The people that play the rules.
Connor McDavid.
Who's the best at hockey?
Connor McDavid.
So, call the rules and Connor McDavid beats you, yes?
Most of the time.
Done. Literally, like...
That was my huge problem with... Go ahead.
No. I know you have a huge problem, but my huge problem Isn't the game so fast? You know when they skate? And they do it faster than you do?
Yeah.
It's really hard.
If you're listening to the audio version of this, Steve is really leaning into Jesse.
I'm trying to
Jesse's
lean back.
tearing up. Jesse's very uncomfortable right now.
Tearing up. I'm
I'm
going
not
to
lean into it.
grade 10 thespian on this. So, dude.
Okay, so can I play the clip?
Yeah, sorry.
play
Yeah,
the clip.
play the clip.
We haven't done that yet.
But this is how pointless the clip is. Everything
Let me
based
play.
on the first 4 seconds, everything that is going to come after is wrong.
This is Steve's Sting moment with Bill O'Reilly. What do you mean, play me off?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
All right.
I'll write it and we're... okay, here, go play them being wrong.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, literally.
This time?
Yeah.
This is the time.
The play. What's the next step, though, to becoming a winning player, a playoff winning player? Because you're not going to get the calls you do in the regular season. He didn't last year, and that was a bit of an issue.
Yeah, and he complained about it a little bit. He wasn't getting the calls. I quite honestly, and I hope I say it correct, just shut up.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. I do think he has to change his game a bit. Not turn into a Checo, obviously. But
Right.
he's talked about culture. He's talked about standard. He's talked about winning. You're not going to outscore. You're not just going to fill the net during playoffs and outscore teams. Mm-hmm. You have to play on the other side of the puck. You have to have that business type attitude of nothing's going to bother me, no matter how you're going to check me. Don't talk about it. Just play hard, play through it. But the other side of the puck is that important too, come playoff time. Mm. I think he's learning. Tip's going to have to get that whole group. If they're talking about a Stanley Cup, they're all going to have to play a little bit a different way, not just try to outscore teams.
That segment's bad. I mean, like, what do you say?
It is tremendously bad. It starts off with John Tortorella telling Connor McDavid to not speak up.
Well, it starts with him going, let me figure out how to say this. Shut up.
Yeah, he's like,
he says that verbatim.
I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but shut up. Just shut up to the best player in the world. It's a ridiculous thing to say, and for a game where people complain about NHL players never saying anything, you got an ex-coach / ESPN commentator saying, just shut up. Don't talk about how you're getting screwed all the time. That's terrible for the game. Don't call out the bad parts of the game, because the refs' feelings are going to be hurt, and they're not going to give you any more calls.
That is
My
true.
feelings never get hurt. No, but here's the larger problem here. What John Tortorella is talking about has a track record of working.
Uh-huh.
Oh, 100%.
So Hockey Night on Saturday, they doubled down on what John Tortorella was saying.
Did they?
Craig McTavish went on intermission and was like, yeah, you need to massage the refs.
Was
And
Craig McTavish on in the intermission?
You need to have a good relationship with them, because that's how you're going to get the calls. You can't be a whiner.
This is,
The game is broken if that's how you need to play it.
This is exactly the career trajectory of Sidney Crosby. He got cross-checked in the face, had the bones in his head rearranged by Darian Hatcher, but he's being a baby.
Yeah, no, he's a whiner.
Fuck off! Oh!
The game is
Why
broken.
are the ratings down?
If this is how you need
Why
to play
are people
hockey.
going? Oh! The game is fine! Just fucking call it!
No, it's a different game.
I'm taking crazy pills. Hockey, as an entire culture, gaslights its fans every fucking day.
Yes.
Makes us feel like the problem.
Yes.
Can you believe Connor McDavid came on our show and did all that complaining? No, it's fucking me, a massive hockey fan, and you, and Jesse, and thousands of others. Call the goddamn thing. I want to go out. I want to run down the street and go on a GTA. You ever get bored of GTA and just run down the sidewalk and punch everyone? That's what I want to do right now.
It's fun.
Are you? Oh, we found it. The game's fixed. The game's fixed. Connor McDavid stops talking. The game is fixed.
So,
you know,
no, go ahead.
Imagine if we had officiating that was as good at officiating as Connor McDavid is at playing hockey. He'd win every year. But we don't, so we're fucked. So, I don't know. I don't know, come back next generation hockey fans. Maybe we'll get it right then. We probably won't, but holy shit!
The idea that
I'm taking crazy pills.
what you say in the media affects how your calls are being called on the ice is a ridiculous concept.
Well, it's because you've got people who are empowered to do so because they're not held accountable publicly.
The referee's job is to call penalties, and me talking about you missing calls shouldn't affect my ability to get penalties, because then you're manipulating the game for things that aren't in the rule book. The rule book doesn't say subjectively call penalties based on players who complain less. I should be able to complain as much as I want because the rule book is the rule book. If I get slashed, it's a slashing penalty. It's not I got slashed, but I complained about you not calling slashing calls, so I don't get a slashing penalty. That's not how hockey works.
No, so last year...
Well, it is how it works.
Last year, So McDavid is adapting, by the way. He's become Captain Elbow. Because he's fucking got to. He's got to. He's got no choice. Crosby out there cowbelling guys, and he judo flipped someone yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. That was the Capitals defenseman, yeah.
Boards! And that's a wily vet.
I also want to throw it at you that I missed this Hockey Night in Canada segment, so it's hard for me to know, but I can imagine that, and tell me if I'm wrong here, the reason they would have doubled down on the Melrose Tortorella segment is because currently that is the way things are. Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
Yes.
So
yes.
It doesn't make it right, but they might be correct. And the problem is,
they're correct that it's
with the
definitely
way
what it
that
is.
Torts is talking here, which is what I think everybody has a problem with, is that he's talking as though that's the way it should be. And I'm not even sure that that's the way he is talking about it. But it certainly seems like, well, he's got to shut up. This is the way things are. And I think that there's a generation of people out there who would like that not to be the way things are.
Well, and how much
that might be the generation that's watching the game and will watch much longer than the current generations because we're the younger generations. And I say that as a 33-year-old.
How much of an impact would it have if John Tortorella said, this kid's got a point? Like, you're not going to get the calls.
Huge.
You're not going to get the calls in the playoffs, but it'd be nice if you did. And you know why he didn't say that? Because one day he's probably going to want to gig back in the show.
Yeah, he's going to want to be a coach again.
And it's going to be a nightmare. I mean, who is it? Dennis Weidman? The Dennis Weidman incident happens with the ref. Horrible. Should have never happened. Next year, the Flames are the most penalized team in the league. They have a memory.
This is when Dennis Weidman ran into the ref and he knocked out his feet.
Yeah,
right?
Horrible incident. Should have never happened.
Ever should have never happened.
But they remembered it and they took it out on the Calgary Flames. If you swear at a guy, like, man, the mic'd up segments are wild. We watched the Leafs Red Wings 24/7, and we watched a ref point at Dion Phaneuf and someone he was arguing with and said, "Fuck both you guys," and that's how he sent them to the box. He said, "Fuck both you guys."
You got to be friends with the zebras on the ice. It's ridiculous.
And
like,
this
you got to
is
be
why,
buddies to get penalty calls.
Like, when I talk about Brad Marchand signing sticks, I'm not making shit up. I'm adding a little hyperbole for the spice, but like, he literally is besties with these guys. You see it every time he takes the ice. Pat on the bum. How are the kids? And he gets to do whatever the fuck he wants. This guy and I have a rapport so he can assault whoever he wants all night long. Are you joking? Fuck!
The game of hockey on the ice shouldn't be about your relationships off the ice. How ridiculous is that?
It's so bad. It's just so bad.
Guys, I just want to say I won the Stanley Cup, and I'm so grateful for my friendship with the referees.
It helped me along the way in these Stanley Cup playoffs where nothing is called. I got away with everything.
Well, it's because we're friends, though.
Because number 78, the referee, is my best friend.
Here, I'm gonna tell you a great
Baseball's
story.
got a bad problem with umps, too. Is it something Hernandez or something like that?
Angel Hernandez and Joe West.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Joe West is a...
In baseball, you actually could just do like, you don't need an ump behind the plate anymore.
They've gotten real good at baseball where they could robo-umpire in like in the next decade. They could do robo.
They're not. Yeah, they don't need an ump. I don't think they need an ump to call strikes and balls right now.
No,
I don't think you do.
Like, the technology's not 100%, but it's getting close.
It's better than Angel Hernandez.
Like tennis, like 100%. Tomorrow they could do no umpires ever.
Yeah, the person that just sits up in that nice little box with the umbrella over top of them.
What's the point? What is the point?
I'll check the replay.
There's like little things where they just need the guy up there in the chair now, the umpire. He's just kind of a monitor and overseer of everything. But the shot spot on the lines, it's perfect. It's down to the milliliter that you don't need.
But that's
milliliter.
That's because tennis
Millimeter.
Tennis, yes, because it's filled with water.
Tennis is great.
Tennis lines are filled with water. No, I think you're onto something though, and I think that tennis though invested in that technology where the NHL and MLB have not, and yet privately it's worked. And I think getting back to the original conversation here, the problem is not what Tortorella said; it's the sentiment behind, which is this is acceptable and this is okay. And at the end of the day, Steve made a really good point. It's like Monopoly has rules. You don't get to go into Super Monopoly at the end of Monopoly and go, well, fuck your hotels. They all go over.
Monopoly.
The wolf came over and huffed and puffed, and there goes your hotel.
Adam, Jesse, and I get together with a bunch of with 29 other people, and we play Monopoly for 82 games of Monopoly.
Oh my god!
And then in the first round of the Monopoly playoffs, it's contact. Boards are flying all over the place, and Boardwalk is where it's flipped 90 degrees, and everything's changed. And there
is no more free parking. You have to pay $25.
Yeah. And the dude who got into the Monopoly playoffs in the 15 seed wins because the fucking rules changed. He was the biggest. It's dumb.
He was the most physical at Monopoly.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Don't you all see how this is dumb? Holy shit.
Call the game.
Question.
This is what reason do I have to defend the Edmonton Oilers and with the fire of 1,000 suns and scream fuck at the top of my lungs? None. Other than I just want hockey to be hockey. Why is that so hard?
I also want I like seeing the Oilers win.
Hey, well,
I enjoy that.
How often do you want to see a penalty called? Well, more often than I want to see Connor McDavid ridden like he is a mother kangaroo.
It will even out. It will even out. Once the players learn and adjust, the penalties will even out. And they will. They absolutely will. You don't have to put a cap on it. It's like, well, we can only call 8 penalties max a game. Well, no, you don't need to do that. Call the rules as they're written. Adjust them as needed in the offseason. Call the rules as they're written. The players will catch on. They're smart. They made it to the NHL.
Imagine every year from April till June, you could goose it doing 120 and a 60. Because
like you mean on the I don't know what everybody knows what goose it is. That's a very Ontario thing.
Sorry, just pedal to the metal. Mm-hmm. You drive highway speeds in a 60 kilometer speed limit zone. Hey, listen, April, May, June, it's competitive months.
It's literally like the Purge Highway Edition.
I gotta get the kids to school, get the fuck out of my way. Dude, you can't drive like that. Yes, I can. It is May 13th.
Yeah.
I just happened to pick the anniversary of 2013 Game 7. But you can't
believe you remember that.
Yeah.
I guarantee you someone was thinking that.
Okay.
Wow.
Leave a comment if you were thinking that. Anyway.
You're liars.
Oh, God. If you took the rules of hockey or the hockey's culture rules, I guess, and you applied them to any other thing, it'd be fucking preposterous.
One of the most disconcerting things about this whole thing was the amount of people who agreed with what John Tortorella said.
Because it has a track record of working. He's saying is right for the wrong reasons.
There was an overwhelming amount of people who were replying to the tweets and all the Instagram posts of his quote and saying, yeah, McDavid needs to learn how to not complain and play in the playoffs a harder style, a grittier style.
I heard a great story the other day. It was at the Easter Seals tournament. It was from Ken Reed and Tiger Williams. I think Tiger Williams scored the goal. Ken Reed got the assist.
That is the most 1980s things that's ever happened. I know Ken Reed is I bet he's been talking about that all weekend.
100%.
Oh
no,
my
he literally
God.
just runs up to me.
He would have wet himself.
He's probably had a few already. He goes, Dangle, room. Remember I came on your podcast and I taught you about room? And I go, yeah, I remember room. He goes, You rough someone up on the ice, and then you don't have to do it again, and you get more goals because they give you room. Let me tell you about room. Tiger, tell him that story about room. And he tells the story of late in his career. Tiger's been through it, and there was this huge dude, young buck, in a game, and it was a home game for that young buck. So right away during warm-ups, he's going to be staring Tiger Williams down. I'm going to fucking kill you, and I'm going to beat the shit out of you, and blah. He's going to get the fans crazy and everything. And Tiger knows he has to go him. And the coach says, Tiger, I'm not putting you out there. I'm not putting you out there because he's in the starting lineup. I'm not putting you out there because that guy's going to grab you and he's going to beat the shit out of you. And Tiger goes, you're putting me in the starting fucking lineup. So he's put in the starting lineup. They line up next to each other. Kid, same thing. I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I'm going to kick your fucking ass. Blah, blah, blah. And Tiger just goes, kid, don't let an old man ruin your career. And he didn't touch him the rest of the game.
Nice mental game. Wow.
No, it's fucking cool. But
that's a guy we need to have on.
100%. But I tell you that story to tell you the culture that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
The solution to getting assaulted on the ice was to do it yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's still there. We're decades later and it's still there. And McDavid started to adapt last year. Crosby has adapted. And we look at Crosby. A lot of people look down on Crosby. Understandably so. A lot of Capitals fans. I kind of get it. There's baggage there. They look down on him as if he's a dirty player. Is he a dirty player or is he a byproduct of hockey? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Imagine a league in which Sidney Crosby was allowed to be.
Well, imagine a league where Brad Marchand gets suspended for licking a man.
Twice!
like even Bruins fans have got to be like, okay, if I take my Bruins jersey off for a second, if somebody did that to my player, I'd be pretty upset.
Who was...
And I say this as a fan of Brad Marchand.
Yeah.
That should have been
Who's the bag of rocks? Who's the bag of rocks who got suspended for spitting on someone? He spat at Eric Branson.
I don't know.
I forget his name.
But it even goes the other way. Imagine being...
What's the difference, right?
That was pre-COVID.
Imagine being Nazem Kadri and not getting a penalty for blowing on somebody and skating on the ice by yourself. It goes the other way where the refs they don't like you and now you're on the list and now everything you do is a penalty.
We talked about this recently. Nazem Kadri, we made the mistake as Leaf fans. We pointed out Nazem Kadri had an amazing penalty differential because there's now a stat for that. There's a stat the refs can attack and they can look and say, this guy's getting too many.
He's going to get more now.
And he's no. He's drawing too many. He's getting too many calls.
It's Bob Ross. Yes.
And it was something like 20 straight games. They didn't. And Babcock had to speak up and go, you can't, guys, this is getting ridiculous. You have to call something. And the next game they called something before, I'm sure, going on another streak of 20. Mm-hmm. And they know, okay, listen, to make it not that obvious, we got to call a penalty for something that happens to Naz, let's say every 8 games. They're fucking horrible at their jobs. Horrible, genuinely horrible. I don't want to hear any of them on any fucking show joking around. I don't want to hear about what great guys they are. They're shitty and they're holding the sport.
It's fall, which means football season is in full swing. And that means for you, that's a way to get some skin in the game and have a little extra fun. And that's why BetMGM remains the exclusive betting partner of The Athletic. As a fan of The Athletic, you can bet $10 to win $150 plus a free 3-month subscription or extension to your subscription with The Athletic when you use BetMGM and the promo code. Just sign up at betmgm.com and use this promo code, TheAthleticPod, at checkout to take advantage of this special offer from the king of sportsbooks. That's a $10 bet to win $150 plus 3 months free from The Athletic at betmgm.com using the promo code TheAthleticPod at checkout. It's a new customer offer. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions.
21 years of age or older to wager. Arizona, Colorado, Washington, D.C., Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia only. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, Washington, D.C., Nevada, Wyoming, and Virginia, 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan, 1-800-GAMBLER in Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Call or text the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789 in Tennessee or call 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Check out BetterHelp.com/STP. Now, life is full of stressors. It doesn't matter where you are in your life. Young, old, rich, not as rich. Do you have a house? Do you have furniture? You can still be stressed. And I think it's a really good time right now, before we get into the holidays and stuff. Yeah, we got to start talking about the holidays. I think maybe you should talk to somebody who's completely unbiased about your life. Somebody who isn't going to judge you or take sides on anything. When there are things you can't tell anyone, or you feel like you can't unload it in your family and friends, and you need to unload it, that's what therapy can be for you. And BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't even have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Unload those stressors. This podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. And use the promo code SDP. You'll get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/SDP. That's BetterHelp.com/SDP. Are the Canucks going to fire everyone?
Probably should.
Nobody will take the job, so...
Their league worst 20 power play goals against are at least double the figure surrendered by 22 teams. And this is according to Ian McIntyre from Sportsnet. Mm-hmm. And Vancouver's special teams deficit is now 11 goals through 16 games. Now, people warned the Canucks. That they would be bad defensively.
In 2014.
Yeah.
And they have a negative 14 goal differential so far this year.
That's pretty bad considering they've played about that many
Francesco
games.
Aquilini was on the road trip. Jeff Merrick, though, saying on Hockey Night in Canada that was planned.
Yeah, that's a very normal thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But everybody did say to them, this will be bad.
Now they are down Tucker Poolman, which is it's relevant because he was a big signing for them. Mm-hmm. Right,
but he just got suspended.
Right.
And he's going to be gone for 2 games.
Right.
If the Canucks can't survive without Tucker Poolman for 2 games, they don't have a shot.
I know. I'm being.
Are you being nice?
A little spoonful.
I don't think Canucks fans need you to be nice. I think Canucks fans need you to be honest.
I'm just spoonful of honey. No, they're. Well, I'll be honest that I didn't think they were this bad.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Demko's a good goalie. They should be scoring more than they are. Like, I look at their lines 1 through 4, and I'm like, okay, what's the problem here? Is the configuration the way I would have it? Probably not. But there's enough talent there, lines 1 through 4, that they should be scoring goals. Ooh, man. Oh, that defense is brutal. It's brutal, and it's not getting shit done for them. What is the difference between the Vancouver Canucks and the Ottawa Senators in terms of roster construction?
What I would say is that, are we talking Senators COVID protocol or not COVID protocol?
Okay,
because they got 10 players in COVID protocol right now.
Healthy
money.
Yeah, it's the bad contract.
You're about to do your thing about the GMs in Canada who have just been around forever.
How did you know?
And the thing about the Vancouver job is that the next person, I don't know who wants this job, but this is like a 5-year dismantling because of the contracts that are on the books here.
I feel like it's going to be Jim Rutherford.
It's an aggressive rebuild you got to do here, because if you look at the deals, it's a lot of money in the middle areas, the $4 to $5 million, and they're signed for long term.
It's kind of wild that they still have that issue after the trade they made for OEL.
But we knew what OEL was. Yeah. That's the problem.
I think that they still have that many contracts, right? Because they took on his big one to dump a bunch of smaller ones.
They could have been out of this shit, though. That's the problem. That's what makes people crazy, is that had they just sucked it up for one more year with Eriksson and Roussel and Beagle, they'd have been out. And you probably could have dumped off one of those contracts to a team trying to hit the floor. Like, tell me the Buffalo Sabres wouldn't have taken on Jay Beagle if you'd thrown in a pick. Like a 7th rounder. Who cares? But I just feel like there's... The thing was, they were like, no, we need to make more of the dead cap that we have by bringing on longer dead cap. Because here's the problem now. For the next guy, I do think it's going to be Jim Rutherford. That's just my... There's no reason for me to believe that, but I think it's going to be Jim Rutherford.
Well, his name's... If he is brought up in the Canucks conversation, it would be the 3rd time in recent memory that his name has been brought up for a GM job.
And he's the kind of guy that can go into an owner. He can deal with tough owners. I mean, look at what he dealt with. Carolina, pre-Tom Dundon, where the family was suing each other, literally succession.
Right.
Then he goes to Pittsburgh. And, listen, I know Mario Lemieux's a legend, but don't let that ownership group kid you. That's not an easy group.
Right.
And then won cups. By the way, he won cups in both places.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes, so if Jim Benning is truly out at some point this season, if I'm Francesco Aquilini, I'm going, well, I'm a pretty involved owner. I'm going to need a guy who's okay with that. Jim Rutherford fits that bill, and he's won. And I'm not saying he's the right guy, but then you got to clean it up.
All right.
So you've got, let me pull up the cap friendly here.
And my stat about their contracts, just to illustrate how locked in everybody is. No contract above $1.5 million comes off the books next year.
Ooh.
Everybody who makes at least 1.5 is signed through next year. As the only one that's doesn't have a deal is an RFA, which I believe is Besser. There you go. So who's going to get more than
I want to finish. I want to finish the Sens point I was making.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So the difference between these two teams in terms of construction, the Canucks have more top end talent.
Mm-hmm.
They have a better goalie, but the Sens work harder, and the chasm is really not that big in terms of the talent. But the money hurdle that the Sens have compared to the Canucks, it's inexcusable that they're in the position they're in. Absolutely inexcusable.
You can't be this bad and this expensive.
No, and it's...
but you can.
Well, you can, but you shouldn't.
Man, I didn't think they'd be this bad.
But guys, really remember this too. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is under contract until 26-27. This is what I'm talking about. If they had just watched him, if they had just looked up his stats, publicly available stats, beyond goals, assists, and points, and you could say, well, he played for the Coyotes, they were shit, and you're right. But we also knew there was some other stuff up there, right? We've known that for a couple of years, and now they've got him until 26-27. Unless they want to buy it out or find a trading partner.
I'm sure Jim Benning will find a trading partner in 27 because he'll still have that job.
He will. And you got Tyler Myers for this year, next year, and the year after, which was a bad deal when they signed it, and is still a bad deal now. The best deals he signed are Pettersson, Besser, Horvat, and Hughes.
Yeah,
those are the best deals, but those are RFA deals.
Those deals are only good if the Canucks are competitive.
Yes.
And they're not. For as long as the Canucks are underachieving, those deals are actually disastrous because you want them locked up to term. And if you can't do that, you want them cheap, short term, and we got to compete now. They're doing the very opposite of that.
Because they kept him short.
So that Pettersson deal, if the Canucks do have to rebuild, I don't think they do.
They got to retool.
They definitely got to retool. They at very least have talent which you can trade. Yes. There are some teams who have nothing and they're fucked, right? The Canucks are not there. But if they don't compete over the span of this Pettersson deal, oh boy, it's not looking good because he's going to get over 10 mil. Or maybe not at this rate because he's not friggin' scoring. No one is.
That's tough.
Can you do your GM's list?
It's unbelievable. So Jim Benning there's 7 Canadian teams.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of longest tenured GMs, he's smack in the middle. He got his job in May 2014.
Well, this podcast is so old we used to make fun of Mike Gillis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we were dealing with... Oh, yeah. No, he was the GM's... he was the Canucks GM.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
how old this podcast is.
So most recent is Ken Holland, got his job in Edmonton 2019. Then it's Kyle Dubas, Toronto 2018. Then Pierre Dorian, Ottawa 2016. Then Benning, May 2014 with the Canucks. April 2014 with the Flames, Brad Treliving.
Wow, he's been there that long.
Oh, yeah. Mark Bergevin, Montreal 2012. Not even the longest tenured GM in Canada. That is Kevin Cheveldayoff, Winnipeg 2011. The most stable job in the entire country is NHL general manager. It's wild. And you're talking about two teams. There are two teams who made inexcusable bets this past summer. The Chicago Blackhawks, for a wide variety of reasons, but it was likely that they had a lame duck GM.
Yes.
Regardless.
Yep.
Regardless.
But they should not have let that lame duck GM sign a massive deal with Seth Jones.
And they go, you're still the GM, so you do whatever you want. He does, team's dog shit. There's Jim Benning. Probably a lame duck GM, but we're going to let him do this and that and that. Team's dog shit. So ownership in both instances wears this. So for the Aquilinis, we're pretty involved and we're going to need a GM who's okay with that. Maybe you need to be okay with being less involved. Oh, well, in 2011, what about 2011? Long fucking time ago. Team hasn't done shit for nearly a decade.
That's true. They haven't done anything. Second round.
Nearly a decade.
Second round in the COVID bubble.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, man. The honor of riding a goalie like an absolute pony
and then losing him.
En route to a defeat.
And then losing him.
Where's that banner go? Fucking who cares? They haven't done shit. Like, I didn't end up looking this up, but I didn't want to do rounds one. I think that's a wrong way to look at it. I wanted to do years in which they won at least a round. You know what I mean? Because if you look at the Montreal Canadiens, for example, over the last few years, you could go, well, they won 3 rounds and think they did a good job. No. They won 3 rounds, but did they catch lightning in a bottle once and play pretty shitty in the, 4 or 5 years prior? Yeah, I think that's more accurate. That's closer to what actually happened.
Can the Leafs get struck by lightning anytime soon?
That'd be great. Oh, listen, and I'm not
really nice.
I'm not taking away from what the Montreal Canadiens did to get to the Stanley Cup final. I'm taking away from the idea that how they've done as a franchise over the last half decade is good. It's not.
People fail to mention that they weren't a playoff team in any normal system in the standings.
Any normal year.
So in the standings, they made the playoffs because there was a pandemic and they all played within the division. But they didn't rank in the top 8 in the Eastern Conference.
That year
they were built for the playoffs. You don't know hockey, Jesse. Learn hockey.
It's not a thing that happened. They didn't really make the playoffs. They got put in because of the division alignment.
Yes.
In the pandemic year.
Like,
it was...
Anyway, so, sorry, back to the Canucks. They wouldn't have either. That magical year in the bubble where they rode Thatcher Demko, they wouldn't have made it either.
No.
But they get in because of a technicality. Not a technicality, I mean a technicality based in a world pandemic. What did the Canucks have to hang their hat on since this dude became general manager? Now,
he shuffled the deck like 4 different times. Someone
responded to this tweet with relevant information.
Okay.
Let me try to find it. Here it is. Only 2 of the general managers I mentioned, so only 2 of the current Canadian GMs, are actually sub 500 in terms of point total. So point percentage, I should say.
Over the course of their tenure.
Good.
That's good.
So the Jets, the Habs, the Flames, the Leafs, and the Oilers are all actually well over 500, most of them, in terms of points percentage since they got their GMs. The exceptions are Pierre Dorian, who's the worst with 4.53. Understandable. The Sens have been rebuilding basically the entire time. Poor guy. his first year. We're in the conference final. We're great. And it hasn't really been great since. And I don't think that's any fault of his, really. And Jim Benning, who's had that job for 7 seasons with a record of .239, .250, and .61. That's a .490 points percentage.
Oof.
So they're on like off the top of my head, they're on like an 80 point, 79 point pace each year.
That's awful.
Over an 82 games. What the fuck does this guy have a job for? Like, nice guy. Does this, does that. Bro, wins and losses.
Also, nice guy is the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Nice person is expected now, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. Jesse always says that. When I was like, I was always be in studio at Version and be like, yeah, they did this super shitty thing, but they're nice. And Jesse would be like, but you're supposed to be nice, Adam.
Like,
you're supposed to be good to people. I was like, that's a good point.
Now you could go, Steve, you gave Dorian some rope after saying he was going through a rebuild. Well, at the beginning of Benning's tenure, they were a team that was heading towards a rebuild. Yeah, but then they had it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had it, and the crest was supposed to, we're supposed to be in the time of the Canucks right now. And we're very super not. They have stuff. They have stuff to work with. There's stuff you can work with on the Vancouver Canucks. They need another mechanic to take a look under the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Because this one's taking you as far as he can.
And probably a new coach. Travis Green will not have trouble getting a job, but I think it's probably time.
So the way this works...
And I'm not saying he's a bad coach, by the way.
No, but the way this works, because this is the way it's always worked, because it's November, is Travis Green gets fired. They wait till the end of the season. The Canucks are eliminated from the playoffs at the beginning of April, and Jim Benning gets fired.
And then they play their last couple of games and go home.
Yeah, and I'm here to tell you, you don't have to wait that long.
Yeah.
Bring in a new guy.
Listen, somebody's got to file the paperwork, right?
Jim, if they were to, let's say Jim Rutherford's the guy.
Yep.
And they bring him in. You don't have to bring him up to speed on very much. He's got everyone's number. You know what I mean? And you give him months to...
Look, that's the one thing Shanny did when he came here, is he waited. He watched, he waited, you didn't hear anything from him. He even was boneheaded enough to think that Dave Bolland was a guy worth retaining at 5 years and $5 million.
Oh, man. And
that was a boneheaded move. But
one of the first things the Leafs did when he was president was extend Randy Carlyle.
Yeah, just a year, though. Because he wanted to take a look. He wanted to look.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think we told that story last podcast about the William Nylander draft pick. Mm-hmm. The one thing that people pointed out was that Nonis did make the announcement at the podium. So I may have mistold that about the Nylander pick. Apparently Nonis made the announcement. But regardless,
something to that effect.
Something to that. We told you we didn't know the exact story, but something to that effect.
We've had it confirmed.
We've
had enough of the story confirmed, if that makes sense.
Yes. And by people higher up than Dave Nonis would have been at the time. Let's put it that way.
A version of that story definitely happened.
Several different ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get someone to confirm it for you at some point. The exact detail. People were like, it's stupid. You missed one detail. We told you. We didn't know the exact story.
All right, you do a fucking 2-hour show. Shut up.
That's all good. I don't mind that.
And don't misspeak the entire time. And if you do, I'm going
to tweet you.
Oh.
In fact, I'm not even going to wait till the segments then.
Those are my favorites.
Those are my favorites.
Those are always, I like that they're, whenever they happen, they go, I'm that guy.
A couple more things, if we can. Jesse, unless you want to say something.
All good.
Okay, a couple more things. How do we feel about the fact that the Coyotes' goal differential right now is bad? Now, don't look at the standings, anybody.
Okay.
What is the Coyotes' goal differential right now?
How many games have they played?
They have played 15 games.
So if you were...
Their record, by the way, 1-13-1.
They have 3 points?
Yes.
Stop that. What does the first place team have?
23 points. That's Florida. By the way, Canucks are 6 points out of a playoff spot as of right now. I should mention that too.
That's unbelievable.
It's not even that bad. No, but yeah, Florida, 23 points.
Oh, that division. Okay, so if the Coyotes lost every game by a goal, they would have a negative 15 goal differential, and that would be bad. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say negative 16 to say it's that plus one.
Jesse, do you know?
That was some good math. I'm going to base off of that, but I'm going to go they lost games on average by 2 goals. So I'm going to say negative 28.
Wow, that's still less.
Jesse is the only one to come within 10. The goal differential
What
is
is that?
negative 37.
You made that up.
Nope.
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 Why'd you make that up?
bad.
And so for anybody that says the cap needs to exist because we need parity in the NHL, boy, are the Coyotes a perfect example of that is not the case.
Can you pull up the Coyote schedule so we can run through their games?
Let me throw this at you. Let me throw this stat at you,
Please.
guys. You
Yes.
ready?
Thank you.
If it continues on this pace for the remainder of the season, the Coyotes' goal differential by the end of the year will be roughly negative 200.
What's the all-time record?
I don't know.
Oh, it's real bad. I did look this up once.
All time,
Upon a
yeah.
Jesse, can you just go through their season real quick?
Like their entire regular season so far?
Yes, because
Sure.
I need to see how this happened.
8-2 loss. Here, let me.
Oh,
run-
well,
let me.
good start.
There's 7 of them.
8-2 loss to Columbus. 2-1 loss to Buffalo in
Hey.
a shootout. 7-4 loss to St. Louis. 5-1 loss to Edmonton. 3-0 Islanders. 5-3 Florida. 5-1 Tampa. 2-0 Washington. 2-1 Carolina. Then we move over to November. 3-0 Arizona. 3-1 Anaheim. 5-4 win for Seattle.
Ooh, against
5-2 Minnesota.
the historically bad Philip Grubauer.
They played Chicago well on a Friday night, but still lost 2-1. 4-1 Nashville. And then they play tomorrow night in St. Louis.
They've given up 5 goals 6 times already.
I didn't know that's what you were counting.
That's
Yes.
what I was counting. Holy shit.
They're bad.
Okay.
The all-time record is Washington Capitals.
Oh, in the 70s.
It has
Yeah,
to be.
their expansion year, I believe it's 8
Like
wins.
74. Yeah.
They had 8
74.
wins in a year.
So
Holy shit.
I just want you to know that the Coyotes have become one of the more interesting stories in the NHL. I want the push for 200 is on. Negative 200.
Did you find
it?
Oh, should I look it up?
The all-time record? I thought-
All-time worst goal
Here,
differential NHL.
While you're looking that up, and Jesse, can you bring up their cap friendly? Because
Okay, I got it.
they-
74, 75 caps.
okay.
Yeah, that's the all-time the worst team.
Negative 265.
Oh, shit.
Greatest goal differential, 76, 77 Canadians, 216. Boy, they were good.
That's cool.
That's insane.
That's
You imagine being a Leafs fan at that point. It's like, what is the point?
why show up. Like,
Why are we playing these guys?
so
We know.
Arizona, they got a lot of praise for rebuilding the right way. And like look at them. Like they have 3 first round picks this year, 5 seconds. I don't think I've ever seen on Cap Friendly them have to stack picks on top of each other.
Yeah.
Like from a design standpoint, I think this is a first. Here's their next 3 years. They have, let's do the first 3 rounds. They have 5 firsts, 6, 7, 9 second round picks, and 5 thirds. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And they were getting lots of praise for rebuilding the right way, and this is an effective rebuild. I'm here to tell you, no, not yet.
No, you have to draft well and develop well. And
Yeah.
then you also have to bring in some people that can help those young players along.
Well, so the Leafs, everyone's having a hard time with attendance right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone for gestures vaguely at the World. And I was looking at the amount of people in Buffalo, and I was like, wow, there's no one at the Sabres game. But then I quickly thought, well, why would they be?
Yeah.
Why would they be at this Buffalo Sabres game? If you're trying to grow the game of hockey in Arizona, like CJ and Julian on the CJ show were talking about like a potential future for hockey in Mexico. Like or NHL, there is hockey in Mexico,
Playing
but like
a outdoor game in Mexico City or something crazy.
yeah, cool, something cool like that. If Arizona is your gateway, Arizona Coyotes games are not worth going to right now. Like literally don't go. Why would you? I was going to expand on that. Don't go. Why would you?
I think you pretty much nailed it.
If you want them to win, if them winning will make your night better, you shouldn't go or watch them. If it's going to hurt your feelings when they lose, you shouldn't go.
The fewest points in NHL history. 74-75 Capitals, widely known as the worst team in NHL history. 21 points. If the Coyotes continue on this pace, now you're saying, it's a little early. And you're right. The NHL does get a bit funny that way. But if it continued this way, the Coyotes would have 16 points by the end of the season. So they would miss the fewest points total by 5 points.
Now, here, let me throw something out there.
Now, when do the Leafs lose to them? When do we play them?
Oh, I know. I know.
The Leafs are going to lose.
Oh, 100%.
For sure. It's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Has to.
Absolutely. I want to find out when Melka becomes George Vezina.
And Phil Kessel will have a hat trick.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it'll be embarrassing too. Like it'll be Phil Kessel at his vintage greatest.
At home. So we are focusing with the Coyotes rebuild. We're focusing way, way, way too much on draft picks and not enough on the thing Jesse noticed. Jesse, what is that?
They have one forward signed through next season.
And?
2 defensemen.
And?
That's it.
That's
the roster
cool.
for next year is 3 guys. That's unbelievable.
Holy shit. Every one of those guys is a mercenary. By the way, you think they're bad now. Wait till the end of the season when none of these guys they might be better because they'll call up some randoms who are better than the worst team in NHL history.
The fewest goals for, by the way, I'm reading all stats that are 1949-50 to present. I'm not counting pre-1949. So if you come at me with those stats, I don't. Come on. Different era, please. Fair. The fewest goals for in NHL history is surprising. It's the 53-54 Chicago Blackhawks. 133 goals. Now remember, that's back when they played 60-something games. Everything was the North Division back then. It was just 6 teams zipping around playing each other. If the Coyotes continue on this track, they will have 124 goals by the end of the season in 22 more games.
Yeah, they're historically bad.
This could be the worst NHL season if this continues. And it would have to improve by a pretty large margin, even at this point, for it not to be.
No.
Oh, I think so.
They could win 3 games and they'll pass the Capitals. You know, like that's how their pace will pass the Capitals' pace.
Listen, fans are smart enough to know what a rebuild is and how it works.
Yep.
But ideally, you have a reason to turn the television on and a reason to spend your money.
Hope, right? That's what we were sold on before Matthews, right? Hope.
One of the games I am most jealous that I missed, like a game I had the opportunity to go to and I'm jealous that I missed it, was it was February 2016. My wife and her friend went instead of me because I did a podcast with you two clowns. It was Nylander's NHL debut.
Yeah, I remember thinking I
should have gone.
I think we said that at the end of it. We're like, why didn't you go? We could have moved this.
And it was a 2-1 loss.
Okay.
But Kapanen did some cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Willie did some cool shit. And I got it framed in the house. That's forever. Hey, Leo, one day I'm going to tell Leo that, and I'm going to tell him the whole funny story.
You got the ticket framed.
Yeah, sorry. I got the ticket framed. And I'm going to get to tell him the funny story. Mommy went to that game instead of Daddy. Because Daddy had to record a podcast, and that was William Nylander's first game and Kasperi Kapanen's first game.
And Mommy had no idea any of this was happening.
Did not care. She went to get drunk, and that was it. And Nikita Soshnikov's first game. Daddy, who's that? Oh, I'll tell you another time. And Zach Hyman's first game.
I remember that. That was a big night.
It was great because we knew the Leafs were bad. Part of us wanted them to lose, but there was still a part of me that went, go Leafs go, and I want to see them do some exciting shit. There's no illusion of that with the Coyotes.
Should I get a number 39 William Nylander jersey?
Absolutely, you should.
With the old logo, too.
It looks very wrong.
It's weird.
Him and Kapanen and Hyman all wore it. It's not.
Pete Blackburn made a really good point like 2-3 years ago on Twitter, and I've never forgotten this. He's like, it was a picture of David Clarkson wearing the old Leafs jersey, and he's like, I forgot how ugly the old Leafs jersey was. In comparison, they were bad.
Me too. They were terrible.
And we didn't even think it at the time. We were like, no, this is great.
And the new one came out, and we're like, this jersey rules. And okay, does it rule, or was the last one just?
Well, it does rule.
It does rule.
I will give them that. Now, quickly before we get to press conference, I do want to mention this. How do you guys feel about this? NHL skills competition, outdoors, Las Vegas.
Oh, nice.
So this is from ESPN. The plan is to have a traditional skills event, such as a hardest shot or fastest skater inside the arena in Vegas. The outdoor events would be created specifically for Vegas All-Star Weekend with themes inspired by Sin City itself. The NHL is deciding between a few different concepts for the events, but they will all have a Vegas touch to them. So it could be something super fun. I don't know. I'm assuming it involves like some sort of casino thing, and if I were them, I would definitely do muscle cars because there's a huge muscle car culture in Vegas. I would definitely do like performers as well. Like think about like everybody from Sinatra to like Adele and Britney Spears and whoever else in between.
Craps, but with a puck.
Yeah, something. Could you do that?
I don't know. I'm sure you could design something.
It's nice that they're talking about something fun like that. How great is that?
It's very great. That's so nice. It's a shame that Vegas has to be the only team trying to have any fun. Right? It's like the NHL got them so they can be the designated fun team.
Yeah, it's like, you guys can push us forward, right?
But bless them. Bless them for trying.
The outdoor events will require a temporary shutdown of Las Vegas Boulevard, the main thoroughfare. It's called the Strip. You guys know that. It's expected to be a partial closure of a 6-lane road rather than the total shutdown. So they will all have the Vegas touch to them. But imagine that. They're playing on the Strip. How cool.
Nice.
And here's the thing, right? You have NHL players who don't want to go to the All-Star game. Well, if you start doing cool shit, maybe they will. I don't think NBA players want to miss the All-Star game. If NBA players miss the All-Star game, it's because they're injured. They don't have to go, but they want to go because it's fucking fun. And it's also great for their brand. It's amazing, right?
NBA All-Star Weekend is something different.
It's the best. It's not so wicked.
But that's for even the players. Like that's not what it's about. It's not about. It's about the parties.
Yeah.
There's so many parties that happen that weekend. It's insane.
And Ovechkin goes, I don't want to go. Oh yeah, where are we going to go? Vegas? Well, it's actually very smart.
Yeah.
This is very smart. I mean, dude, these guys get like 4 days off. That's 4 days. It's not enough to really do a proper vacation. It's enough to do Vegas.
If you're Ovi, I remember his last time he went to like an island, and then he gets the extra day if he has a Caps game on the Tuesday, so he gets like 5 days. But like maybe spend those 5 days in Vegas.
Might actually go.
Yeah.
Might actually go. I like that. I like that very much. I'm excited. I don't know how the hell the ice is going to work, but give it a shot.
Well, I think they'll find a way. If they're talking about outdoor games in Mexico City, I feel like they might be able to figure this out.
They've done it.
So, with that, let's go to the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
If you're not on our Discord, head over to sdpn.ca, click the link that says join us on Discord, and join us on Discord.
I actually feel like the Hulk going back down to Bruce Banner sometimes. But like that screaming about the refs earlier in the show. It's like I'm thinking about it right now, like I blacked out. I'm like, did I really say that?
You did.
I did. I meant it. That's why. So.
On Saturday night, I feel like we should mention this and give them a nice shout out. On Saturday night, Andrew Berkshire and Julian McKenzie did the Hot Ones Gauntlet. They ate all of the hot sauces that they do on the YouTube series Hot Ones. During Game Over Montreal, which is our live show on YouTube after every Habs game. They completed it without drinking any milk.
Good for them.
So they did the whole thing without having any milk until the last hot sauce. I think it's called the Bomb. After that one, they finally had their glass of milk. Andrew's lips turned very red.
Yes.
That was
the picture of him floating around online. It's the picture of pain.
Yeah. It was, but they did surprisingly well. Like there was a few moments towards like 7 through 10, like because there's 10 hot sauces. 7 through 10, there was a lot of coughing and a lot of and lips burning, but they did it. They did the whole thing, and it was very well done. So shout out them for providing some entertainment on a Saturday night. It was cool.
And they ate the wing like down to the bone too. Like they did it.
It wasn't a harder way.
No,
they did it in a harder way than hot ones. Hot ones, they bite it and throw it away.
Yeah, because the celeb there who's sitting there isn't going to munch on the whole chicken wing, but they did. They ate the whole wing. It was fun, and I got to sit there and troll all the comments all night long, so that was a good time.
Loved it. That's so great. I love what Andrew's doing with that show because it seems like he's just having fun. Right?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, we should mention today, so I'm recording, Jesse and I are recording with Alan Walsh a little bit later today. The guy we're talking to today is the guy that essentially makes sure that you don't end up on like an ESPN 30 for 30 talking about how much money you spent and how you don't have any anymore.
Okay.
He's the money manager for Octagon.
Oh, wow.
So this guy literally manages Steph Curry's money.
Okay. You got me.
We are literally going to talk to so there's a conversation I'm going to make Alan tell about Patrick Eliash in this one.
Okay.
About the conversation they had after Eliash signed his big extension in New Jersey. This is going to be one of those podcasts where I'm like, this will be so interesting because we constantly talk about, well, that's more money than you could ever possibly use. Well, not really.
No, apparently not.
You'd be surprised at how quickly you can spend that kind of money, and how they have you manage it, I think, will be a really interesting take. And don't worry, I'm going to ask, is it really that much more expensive to live and play in Canada?
Oh,
that's a great question.
I am going to ask that.
Thank you for asking
that. Because we've heard that bullshit forever. Alan has said, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
The taxes are better in Florida. That's why he took a discount.
If you have the proper money management, apparently it isn't. But I want to know why. So we're going to find out.
Also, they all get paid in American dollars. Like, I'm sure this will come up.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, it's if you're Mitch Marner, it's like, what is it? 11 million Canadian is 14 million something American. Or sorry, 11 million American is 14 million Canadian.
Like, how I don't get the argument. I'm fascinated to hear his answer.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
It's gonna be cool. Anyway, that'll be out tomorrow at about noon.
First question. Where did I have it? This comes from Broder HOF, Broder Hall of Fame on our Discord. I don't know if this has been discussed before, but what are your thoughts on making NHL games worth 3 points? 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an OT/shootout win, 1 point for an OT/shootout loss, and 0 points for a regulation loss. This is something I've always wanted to see in the NHL because it just makes so much more sense. What do you guys think?
Well, we're having a hard enough time getting the NHL to like call their own rule book. So where they are under the impression that their current system helps parity. Now there's actually evidence to suggest no, it super doesn't. But I can tell you what's probably not going to help is a 3-2-1 system. And here's why it doesn't help. Because the 3-2-1 system accurately reflects who's good and who's bad. So as a fan of sports, I understand why you want that because it's the most fair and accurate and honest. So I want to see it.
Wins and losses to me.
It'll never happen. Wins and losses would be fine.
They seem to be paired towards the point system. So like the ideal point system for me would be 3-2-1.
Yep.
But the ideal scenario in all of this is you just drop everything and go to wins and losses. Like a normal fucking sport.
The other thing is
not football, I guess, in Europe.
People have done calculations on this in the past, and if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on this, but if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't change things that much. It doesn't change things that much. So yeah, I get the 3-2-1 thing, but from what I remember, because this debate was raging in like 14, 15.
Yeah.
One of our listeners actually did a comparison, and they did the entire league and found out that it didn't change much.
It would have changed like two teams. No, it's what I've always said with the NHL, who loves well, not so much anymore, but they went through a phase of changing rules so aggressively, like every year, was pick a thing and stick to it.
Yep.
And not everyone liked this point system when it came out. But now you don't really hear it talked about that much because they stuck to it. At least you know what it is. Right? So 3-2-1 sounds like a cool idea. If you go with it, stick with it.
Yeah, you got to do it for 20 years. You got to do it for 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah, no, if you play 5 more minutes, you should get a point.
No.
Anyway.
And also, coaches and GMs cost a 2nd and 3rd round draft pick until 6 months from now when they don't. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, the Leafs paid that for Lou and for Babs, right?
Yep. Oilers paid a 2nd for Peter Chiarelli until teams went, oh, that's too much. And the NHL went, that's too much. So we're stopping that. Oh, do we get our picks back? Oh, no. Dumb.
It makes so much sense to have a point.
NHL, dum.
It makes sense to have a point system in soccer because the games end in a tie so frequently.
Yeah.
You need a way to differentiate that. But in hockey, the games end in wins. Like you put the shootout in there so we don't have the tie anymore. Go to wins and losses. Anyways, that's the only question for today. We're all good.
I just want to shout out Kenny Burley III. Hi, Kenny. He's listening to SDPN radio right now on the SDPN app, which has over 10,000 downloads in a week, which is insane.
Dumb.
Thank you so much. So we're talking about Pittsburgh trading Kessel potentially to Dallas for retained Jason Spezza, who's on the last year of his deal and last year in the league, according to me. Hashtag freezing cold take.
Ooh.
Hey, man, you saw Jason Spezza's last year in Dallas. How many people thought, oh, yeah, for sure he's going to be in the league next year?
When the Leafs originally signed Jason Spezza, my only thought was, neat. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to love him like a father.
He's a 0.5 point a game player minimum for the next 3 years. Right? Like, no one thought he had 30 points last year? No one thought Jason Spezza was going to get that.
He's just a good player, and like you see his impact on the team on and off the ice.
Yeah.
He rules. Rules.
Also, last year he had, let me just throw this out, in 54 games, 30 points.
Like on the
That's
4th
ridiculous.
line and 2nd power play.
For $750,000. That's incredible.
Stupid.
All right, so we'll be back Wednesday. Don't forget, CJ show out today, Agent Provocateur out tomorrow. Steve, when's the next Leaf game?
I think it's tomorrow against Nashville.
So we'll have a new LFR Wednesday morning when we wake up, and a brand new podcast then. The SDPN train keeps running, and there's lots happening.
Hat picks Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Dang, it's Thursday.
There you go.
You never have to spend a moment alone.
Just have Steve yelling at you.
Hey, it's me again.
How do you feel about, let's hit that extra, Jesse. Steve, tell us again, how do you feel about the refs?
I'm so glad you asked. Because I'm so glad someone's thinking of me. Me and me alone, finally. We should get a ref show. Work on it.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.